Well, hi, and welcome to Father, Son, and Skillet. I'm Alden.
I'm Owen, and this is a saucepan.
Well, today, since barbecue season is already starting up, we smoked our first pork butt, a week or two ago?
About a week.
About a week ago. And we were running out of barbecue sauce, so we can't have that. So today, we're making barbecue sauce our way. So stick around and watch. So before we get started, let's introduce the ingredients here. We start with a little bit of butter and some onion, some salt, and our barbecue rub. Other ingredients in this list include some ketchup, cider vinegar, sorghum syrup, you can use molasses, and Worcestershire sauce, and water. So, while Owen gets going, let's start mixing. Start by melting the butter in the pan, which is on low heat.
I can probably turn it up now, but I just had it on low, getting warm while we got set up.
Right.
Well, you don't have to use butter for this. We've done it before. We know it's good. But if you want to use a more neutral oil, go ahead. But we like butter because a little bit of browned butter really makes pork pop. And most of our barbecue is pork, since we live in Memphis.
Yeah. We wanted to talk a little bit about barbecue styles too, because, you know, barbecue where you are is barbecue, and everything else is foreign food. So this kind of sauce isn't going to work for any of the Carolina styles of barbecue.
Oh, no.
Probably not going to be sweet enough for Georgia style. It works pretty well from Memphis on up to St. Louis and across to Kansas City.
Well, that's partly because the early pioneers of barbecue in those two cities were people who couldn't get a job because Memphis was so saturated, or had been successful working for somebody else and wanted their own business.
You see that the butter's starting to get a little brown going on. That's about the point where we'll want to add our onions. We'll put a full recipe down below and so you can follow along. And we'll make note also that this is a triple batch because of a reason we will show you in just a few minutes. So you get the onions in. You add that little bit of salt, and then you stir that together. The salt is mostly so that the onion starts to sweat and give up some of its liquid, and then we'll cook it for just a minute until it's translucent. All right, as you can see, things got very foamy. These onions are starting to get just a little bit of color on them, and the butter rather has gotten a little browner, which is the flavor that we're going for. So at this point, we pull that off the heat, start adding our other ingredients, beginning with the barbecue rub. You can use any kind of barbecue rub that you like. We like the one that we make ourselves. We've been working on that, and we'll share that recipe with you one of these days. So we get that in, get the onions all coated, and then we'll add the Worcestershire sauce and the ketchup. Now this big bottle of ketchup is 32 ounces. Which is 3 cups. So as I told you, we're making a triple batch. We just discovered that one big bottle of ketchup seems to make it, and that way we don't have an extra half a bottle of ketchup around or anything like that. Get as much out as you can at first, and some of these other liquid ingredients can help you wash the rest of the ketchup out. So, Owen looks like Owen's done about as well as he can with that. And he'll set that down. We'll add our sorghum syrup. Now, sorghum is very much a southern U.S. staple. It's hard to find anymore, though. So you could use golden syrup or cane syrup. You could even use a light molasses. I would recommend against using a dark brown or blackstrap molasses. Anyway, right into the pan. There's our sorghum syrup. You can see the kind of color that it has. It adds a lot of sweetness to the sauce that you could also get with brown sugar. There's a little bit of brown sugar in the rub, but we like to use the sorghum syrup because it adds a certain tang to everything. Now he stirs that in. We'll add the vinegar to our sorghum syrup container. And well, he can stir that around to loosen up some of the sorghum, and then we'll rinse out the ketchup bottle with it. And then we've rinsed the sorghum out of the measuring cup with the cider vinegar.
At least mostly.
Well, we've got most of it. We'll give it another little scrape. Flows much better than it used to anyway. We've also got some water we can add to the mix. So we'll rinse this ketchup bottle out. We don't want to waste any of it. And we'll repeat that rinsing maneuver with the water after he stirs this in. Put the heat back on under it. Now, we'll use some of our water. Rinse the rest of that syrup out of the measuring cup.
I think that's as good as we're going to get.
It probably is. Use the rest of our water to finish rinsing the ketchup out of its bottle. All right, well, that's everything in the pot. And we bring that up to a simmer and let it simmer for a little while. And then we'll move on to the next steps. All right, so this is simmered for about 20 minutes. We've stirred it occasionally. It's looking like everything's pretty well incorporated. So the next step we do is to puree it so that we get a nice smooth sauce with no onion chunks in it. Okay. Now, all we need to do is let that cool and put it into squeeze bottles and be ready for a barbecue.
So I hope you enjoyed all that. And remember, this isn't the be-all, end-all of barbecue sauces. There are plenty of good ones. We were inspired by several we've found over the years. Really, what this is a jumping off point. You can take this recipe and tweak things, change the fat, change the sweetener, change the acid. Find what you like.
It's a good chance for you to experiment. Take chances.
Make mistakes.
Get messy.
Messy.
So that's it for this episode of Father, Son, and Skillet, where we made barbecue sauce. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to click like down below, share this video, and subscribe to our channel. Be sure you ring that bell. Is that even a bell?
Oh, we were just talking about what even is barbecue. Why not?
True. But the bell we're talking about is the little notification icon down below. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll see you next time on
See you next
Father,
time.
Son, and
Skillet.